Most people think 1 acre is too small to matter. But when it is built correctly, 1 acre can cut your grocery bill, lower your feed costs, produce food every week, create sellable products, and turn unused corners into working income. That doesn't happen by collecting random animals. It happens by choosing 11 animals with specific jobs. 11 animals, 1 acre, a farm layout where scraps become feed, feed becomes food, manure becomes fertility, and every section of land has a measurable job. This system is built for one purpose: turning small acreage into output. Eggs, fish, meat, milk, honey, wool, compost, pest control, grazing, brush clearing, and security all come from the same acre when the animals are placed in the right sequence. The point is not to own more animals. The point is to make every animal carry more than one responsibility. Stay with this to the end, because once the full chain is assembled, you will know which animal starts the first cost-saving loop, which animals create the fastest return, and how the entire acre can move from scattered chores into coordinated production. You will also know the order that keeps the farm from becoming crowded before it becomes profitable. An acre is 43,560 square feet. Used poorly, that space fills up fast. Used deliberately, it becomes a compact production grid. The difference is not more land. The difference is whether every animal has a job that pays back. Every animal here must meet a strict test. It must produce food, lower a recurring cost, create a sellable product, improve fertility, control pests, manage vegetation, or protect something valuable. The best animals do several of those things at once. The profit comes from the gaps most farms ignore. Feed waste, wet corners, spent garden beds, orchard floors, brush lines, fallen fruit, and unused water all become production points. Each weak spot on the acre is assigned to an animal built to handle it. That's the standard. The first animal is the black soldier fly. This is the lowest cost engine in the system because it attacks the feed bill before the farm even expands. Black soldier fly larvae consume kitchen scraps, spoiled produce, fallen fruit, manure, leftover feed, and crop residue. These are the materials most small farms either compost slowly, throw away, or struggle to manage. In this system, they become feed. The larvae can reach up to 42% protein and 35% fat by dry weight. That's strong enough to support poultry and fish, and it comes from waste the acre already produces. Chickens eat the larvae aggressively. Ducks use the protein to support growth and laying. Quail benefit from the concentrated nutrition. Fish turn the larvae into harvestable body weight. The second product is frass. After the larvae process the waste, the remaining material carries nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, organic matter, and microbial activity. It goes back into compost, garden beds, or pasture improvement. One bin now produces feed and fertility from the same waste stream. It also keeps pressure off purchased feed, which is where many small livestock projects start losing money. When a farm produces part of its own protein, every bird and fish that eats from that system becomes cheaper to raise. That's the first conversion. The second animal is chickens. Chickens turn insect protein into daily food faster than almost anything else a beginner can manage. A productive heritage hen, such as an Australorp, Plymouth Rock, or Rhode Island Red, can lay 250 to 300 eggs per year. A flock of 20 hens can produce roughly 5,000 to 6,000 eggs in a strong year. That creates household food and dependable surplus. Eggs are easy to sell because buyers already know the product, use it weekly, and understand freshness immediately. That makes chickens one of the cleanest entry points for small farm income. Their second job happens after crops finish. Chickens can rotate through spent beds and scratch through residue, eat grubs, remove weed seeds, break down plant matter, and spread nitrogen-rich manure across the surface. That turns cleanup into production. Their manure feeds soil, compost, and insect systems. The crops grown from that soil create more scraps, and those scraps return to the black soldier fly bin. Older layers can become stew birds, and seasonal meat birds can add planned harvests without permanently increasing flock size. Chickens make the loop visible. The third animal is fish. Fish move production into water, which most small farms underuse. A pond, tank, or aquaponic setup adds protein without taking pasture away from goats, sheep, rabbits, poultry, or pigs. Tilapia, catfish, and perch can all work depending on climate and regulations. Tilapia are especially efficient, commonly converting about 1.6 pounds of feed into 1 pound of gain under strong management. That gives the acre a high-efficiency protein source inside a small footprint. The water itself creates another output. Fish waste loads the system with nutrients. When that water moves through a plant bed, vegetables and herbs pull out those nutrients and help clean the water before it returns. Fish produce meat. Their water feeds crops. The crops create scraps. The scraps feed insects. The insects help feed the fish. A tank or small pond also gives the farm resilience because protein is being produced in a layer that rain, pasture pressure, and poultry rotation do not occupy. The fourth animal is Coturnix quail. Quail are the speed layer. Coturnix quail can begin laying at 6 to 8 weeks of age and reach harvest size in roughly 8 weeks. That kind of timeline changes the early momentum of a small farm. Their strength is density. Several quail fit into the footprint of one chicken. A rack, protected shed corner, or small outbuilding wall can produce eggs and meat from space too tight for larger animals. Quail eggs also sell differently from chicken eggs. Restaurants, specialty buyers, and market customers often treat them as premium eggs because they are distinct, attractive, and easy to package. Quail meat carries a similar premium feel. They connect directly to the insect system. Black soldier fly larvae provide concentrated nutrition. Quail return egg, meat, and manure. That manure goes back into compost, garden beds, or insect production. Because they are compact and relatively quiet, they also fit settings where roosters, large flocks, or noisy poultry would create problems. Chickens bring volume, fish bring water-based protein, quail bring fast turnover from tight space. The fifth animal is rabbits. Rabbits add lean meat and immediate fertility. A breeding doe can produce up to 1,000% of her body weight in meat over a year. A beef cow produces roughly 40 to 50% of her body weight annually. On 1 acre, that difference matters. Feed conversion matters too. Rabbits can require around 3 pounds of feed for 1 pound of meat, compared with roughly 7 to 8 pounds of feed per pound of beef. That makes rabbits one of the strongest compact meat sources in the system. Their manure is the real advantage. Rabbit manure is considered cold manure, so it can go into garden beds without burning roots like fresh hot manure. It carries nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur in a form that supports productive soil. With wire bottom hutches, trays, worm bins, or garden placement, the manure is captured every day. It feeds beds, compost, worms, or black soldier fly systems. A small rabbitry of 3 female rabbits and 1 buck can produce 150 to 200 pounds of lean meat per year while constantly feeding fertility back into the acre. The housing footprint stays small, and the output is steady enough to plan meals, sales, and soil improvement around it. Rabbits turn small corners into output. The sixth animal is ducks. Ducks work where moisture creates problems. Wet garden edges, pond borders, orchard paths, and low areas attract slugs, snails, beetles, and soft-bodied pests. Ducks hunt those pests and turn crop protection into eggs and meat. Khaki Campbell ducks can produce up to 340 eggs per year. Duck eggs are larger than chicken eggs, richer in fat and protein, and highly valued by bakers for texture and lift. That gives the farm a product that feels familiar but sells as a premium upgrade. Their movement pattern is valuable too. Chickens scratch hard and can damage established plantings. Ducks disturb mature beds far less when managed correctly. That makes them useful around crops where pest control matters, but soil disruption would cause damage. They connect to the larvae system for protein, to the water system through pond edges, and to the garden by protecting young plants from pest damage. They turn the damp areas that often frustrate farmers into useful production zones. Ducks guard the wet line. The seventh animal is geese. Geese convert grass into products and protection. They graze ground cover that chickens, ducks, and quail barely use, turning low-value forage into egg, meat, manure, feathers, and a living alarm system. During the growing season, quality pasture can supply much of a goose's diet. That lowers supplemental feed needs and makes geese one of the strongest poultry choices for turning grass into value. Goose eggs are large and useful for cooking and baking. Goose meat can command premium seasonal demand, especially around holiday markets. Down and feathers add another traditional product line when the right buyer exists. Their security role is just as important. Geese are loud, territorial, and alert. They react to dogs, foxes, raccoons, strangers, and unfamiliar movement. They don't replace strong fencing, but they make quiet predator movement much harder around the poultry cluster. They eat grass, produce premium products, and warn the farm when something is wrong. That means fewer blind spots around animals that are smaller, quieter, and easier for predators to target. Geese protect the investment. The eighth animal is Nigerian dwarf goats. Nigerian dwarf goats bring dairy and high browse control. They weigh around 60 to 80 pounds, making them easier to manage than full-size dairy breeds, but their milk carries serious value. Nigerian dwarf milk often averages 6 to 10% butterfat, which makes it excellent for cheese, yogurt, soap, and premium farm products. 2 to 3 female goats can change the household's dairy supply. Milk becomes food. Cheese becomes a higher value product. Soap and lotion create value-added goods from the same daily routine. Their land management role is just as strong. Goats are browsers. They target brush, brambles, vines, weeds, shrubs, and woody growth that grazers leave behind. On 1 acre, uncontrolled brush steals usable space. Goats convert that rough growth into milk, manure, and access. Their bedding and manure return to compost or insect systems. Their browsing reduces manual clearing. Their dairy adds a product category poultry can't touch. A small goat group turns the rough edges of the acre into one of the most valuable product streams on the property. Goats turn rough growth into revenue. The ninth animal is Babydoll sheep. Babydoll Southdown sheep manage the low grass layer. They often stand around 18 to 24 inches at the shoulder, which makes them useful in orchards, food forest rows, and controlled pasture lanes. Their job is different from the goats. Goats reach upward into rough growth. Babydoll sheep stay low, grazing grass beneath trees and around trunks. In orchard systems, that low stature matters because smaller sheep can maintain ground cover with less risk of reaching into lower branches and fruit. They produce meat, manure, and wool. The wool is fine and soft enough to interest hand spinners, felters, and fiber artists. The meat adds another protein and income stream. Their manure feeds pasture and orchard soil as they move. They reduce mowing, keep orchard floors active, and turn grass into fertility and product. Combined with goats, they give the acre 2 vegetation managers working at different heights. They also make orchard rows more efficient because the space under the trees produces grazing value instead of becoming a mowing chore. Sheep keep the floor working. The 10th animal is Kunekune pigs. Kunekune pigs are the final cleanup crew in the rotation. They enter after other animals have already taken the first passes. Their job is to consume leftover forage, fallen fruit, garden rejects, crop residue, and stubborn weeds before the ground rests. Conventional pigs can damage small acreage when mismanaged. Kunekunes are known as grazing pig, with shorter, upturned snouts and a stronger pasture orientation than many commercial breeds. With tight timing, strong fencing, and controlled numbers, they clean up without turning a paddock into a disaster. Their value comes from conversion, extra squash, damaged pumpkins, overripe fruit, weeds, and final pass forage become pork. Well-raised pork carries strong value with local buyers, chefs, and customers looking for specialty meat. They also disturb the soil surface, mix organic matter, spread manure, and prepare sections for rest or reseeding. The key is planned access, not constant access. Used last, they recover value from what the rest of the acre leaves behind. Pigs finish the rotation. The 11th animal is honeybees. Honeybees complete the system by increasing plant output without taking pasture, feed, or pen space. A strong hive can hold 40,000 to 80,000 bees during peak season, and those bees can forage up to 3 miles in every direction. That reach affects the orchard, garden, berries, herbs, cover crops, and forage plants. Strong pollination can increase fruit set dramatically, with many crops producing 30 to 80% more fruit when pollination is adequate. More fruit means more household food, more produce to sell, more fallen fruit for pigs, more scraps for insect bins, and more plant material cycling through the farm. Honey creates direct income. A productive hive can yield 25 to 100 pounds of honey per year, depending on location and season. Raw local honey can sell for $10 to $20 per pound in many farmers market settings. Beeswax adds candles, balm, wraps, wood polish, cosmetics, and soap ingredients. They don't compete with the animals. They raise the production ceiling of the plant layer. The hive is small, but its influence spreads across every flowering section of the acre. Now the layout is complete. Black soldier flies process scraps, manure, and crop residue into larvae and frass. Chickens turn larvae into eggs and nitrogen-rich manure. Fish use the same feed stream and return fertilizer water. Quail produce fast eggs and meat from compact space. Rabbits create lean protein and a garden-ready manure. Ducks patrol damp zones for slugs and snails. Geese graze grass and alert the poultry area. Nigerian dwarf goats clear upper brush and produce rich dairy. Babydoll sheep maintain orchard floors and low pasture. Kunekune pigs clean up leftovers and prepare ground for rest. Honeybees raise yields across every flowering crop. Every animal has a job. Every byproduct has a destination. That structure cuts outside costs. Less purchased feed, less purchased fertilizer, less pest control, less mowing, less wasted produce, less idle ground. At the same time, the acre produces more eggs, fish, meat, milk, honey, wool, fruit, vegetables, compost, and marketable farm goods. This is the difference between a collection and a system. A collection keeps adding mouths to feed. A system adds converters. Every new animal must take something low value and return something higher value. The starting point should be the cheapest loop with the fastest visible return. Begin with black soldier flies and chickens, because that turns scraps into eggs and manure. Add fish once the water system is stable, because the same larvae now support a second protein source. Add quail to create fast production in tight space. Add rabbits for efficient meat and cold manure. Add ducks when wet zone pests begin costing crops. Add geese when the poultry area needs grazing and alarm coverage. Bring in Nigerian dwarf goats when fencing, shelter, and daily dairy routines are ready. Add Babydoll sheep when orchard floors or low pasture need steady grazing. Introduce Kunekune pigs after paddocks are mapped for controlled cleanup. Place honeybees when the garden, orchard, and forage crops can benefit from stronger pollination. That final sequence matters because timing protects the land. The early animals create food and fertility quickly. The middle animals expand into water, wet zones, and tight spaces. The later animals manage heavier vegetation and paddock cleanup after the acre already has structure. The order keeps the acre from becoming crowded before it becomes productive. Each new animal enters because a real need already exists. That keeps the system sharp instead of messy. The numbers also keep the system honest. Eggs can be counted, feed can be weighed, honey can be bottled, meat can be harvested. Manure can be moved into beds. If an animal does not improve a number somewhere on the acre, it is decoration, not production. That discipline matters more than the breed list. The animals are impressive, but the accounting is what makes the farm real. Production has to be visible, repeatable, and connected to the next useful step. When that standard is enforced, the acre stops drifting into hobby mode. It becomes a working layout where every pen, bin, bed, paddock, hive, and tank has a purpose. Start with waste. Turn it into feed. Turn feed into food. Turn manure into fertility. Turn flowers into fruit. Turn grass and brush into products people want. Then keep the outputs moving until the acre becomes more productive each season. A small farm wins through connection. If this helped you see what 1 acre can become, subscribe for more practical small farm systems. And tell me in the comments, which animal would you add first, and what problem would you want it to solve on your land?